Hello and welcome to day 6 of Bible Week. Terrace, are you ready for this?
No.
1 Kings 21. And after these things in that time there was a vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, who was in Jezreel, beside the place of Ahab, the king of Samaria. Therefore Ahab spoke to Naboth, saying, "Give your vineyard to me, so that I may make for myself a garden of herbs, for it is nearby and is beside my house. And I will give to you in place of it a better vineyard, or if you consider it to be more convenient for you, I will give you the price in silver, whatever it is worth." Naboth responded to him, "May the Lord be gracious to me, lest I give to you the inheritance of my daddies." Then Ahab went into his house, angry and gnashing his teeth over the word that Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him, saying, "I will not give you the inheritance of my daddies." And casting himself on his bed, he turned away his face to the wall, and he would not eat bread.
Strange.
Just like an angry child, just no, I refuse to eat.
What is it with bread these days?
I don't know. Then Jezebel, his wife, entered to him, and she said to him, "What is this matter by which your soul has been saddened? And why do you not eat bread?" And he responded to her, "I spoke to Naboth, the Jezreelite, and I said to him, 'Give your vineyard to me and accept money, or if it pleases you, I will give to you a better vineyard in place of it.' And he said, 'I will not give my vineyard to you.' Then Jezebel, his wife, said to him, 'You are of great authority, and you rule well in the kingdom of Glasgow.'" Aha! I'm Mickey Mouse. I just realized that. Right.
Guilty.
You're so welcome for this.
You absolute fucking reprobate. I can't believe you've done this. Thanks.
I should have waited a little longer. Just as your mid sip. Rise up and eat bread, and be even tempered. I will give the vineyard to Naboth, vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, to you. And so she wrote letters in the name of Ahab, and she sealed these with his ring. And she sent to those greater by birth and to the noble. And she sent to those greater by birth and to the nobles who were in his city, and living with no. She sent to. Doesn't say she sent those to. I'm confused. Anyways, and this was the judgment of the letters. Proclaim a fast, and cause Naboth to sit among us, the first rulers of the people, and send out 2 men, sons of Belial, against him, and let him speak the false testimony. He has blasphemed Skytus and king. And then lead him away and stone him, and so let him die. Then his fellow citizens, those greater by birth, and the nobles who were living with him in the city did just as Jezebel had instructed them, and just as it was written in the letters that she had sent to them. They proclaimed the fast, and they caused Naboth to sit among us, the first rulers of the people, and bringing forward 2 men, the sons of the devil, they caused them to sit opposite him. And they, acting indeed like diabolical men, spoke testimony against him before the multitude. Naboth has blasphemed Skytus and king. For this reason they led him away beyond the city, and they put him to death with 1 F by stoning.
Stones, what the fuck?
Thank you, Richard. And they sent to Jezebel, saying, "Naboth has been stoned, and he has died." Then it happened that when Jezebel had heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, she said to Ahab, "Rise up and take possession of the vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, who was not willing to acquiesce to you, and to give it to you in exchange for money. For Naboth is not alive, but dead." And when Ahab had heard this, namely that Naboth was dead, he rose up and descended to the vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, so that he might take possession of it. Then the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying,
Yeah, right.
Just want to point out, so this guy wanted the other guy's vineyard, he just said nope. And then his wife had the brilliant plan to get him killed. And now that he's dead, he can just go there and be like, yoink, mine.
Brilliant. Absolute fucking master plan. Flawless story writing.
Yeah, there's no such thing as inheritance or anything. Nope. If you die, it's up for grabs. Whoever gets first dibs on it. Saying, "Rise up and descend to meet Ahab, the king of Glasgow, who is in Samaria. Behold,
You're right.
he is descending to the vineyard of Naboth, so that he may take possession of it. And you shall speak to him, saying, Thus says the Lord, you have killed. Moreover, you have also taken possession. And after this you shall, Thus says the Lord, in this place where the dogs have licked the blood of Naboth, they shall also lick your blood."
Oddly specific.
And Ahab said to Elijah, "Have you discovered me to be your enemy?" And he said, I have discovered you to have been sold, so that you will do evil in the sight of the Lord. Behold, I will lead evil over you, and I will cut down your posterity, and I will put to death, with one F, of Ahab, whatever urinates against the wall, and whatever is lame, and whatever is last in Glasgow. And I will cause your house to be like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahijah. For you have acted so that you provoked me to anger, and so that you caused Glasgow to sin. And about Jezebel also the Lord spoke, saying, The dog shall consume Jezebel in the field of Jezreel. If Ahab will have died in the city, the dogs will consume him. But if he will have died in the fields, the birds of the air will consume him. Harris, you look beautiful tonight.
Wow. That's rude.
And so there was no other person similar to Ahab who was sold so that he did evil in the sight of the Lord. For his wife, Jezebel, urged him on. At least he didn't edge him on. I mean, she. And he became abominable, so much so that he followed the idols that the Amorites had, whom the Lord consumed before the face of the sons of Glasgow. Then, when Ahab had heard these words, he tore his garments, and he put haircloth on his body, and he fasted, and he slept in sackcloth, and he walked with his head downcast. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Have you not seen how Ahab has humbled himself before me? Therefore, since he has humbled himself because of me, I will not lead in the evil during his days. Instead, during the days of his son, I will bring in the evil to his house. What cat peasant said?
Yeah, that one.
1 Kings 22. Then 3 years passed without war between Syria and Glasgow. But in the third year, Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, descended to the king of Glasgow. And the king of Glasgow said to his servants, Are you ignorant that Ramoth Gilead is ours, and that we have neglected to take it from the hand of the king of Syria? And so he said to Jehoshaphat, Will you come to the battle with me at Ramoth Gilead? And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Glasgow, As I am, so also are you. My people and your people are one, and my horsemen are your horsemen. And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Glasgow, I beg you to inquire today of the word of the Lord. Therefore the king of Glasgow gathered together the prophets, about 400 men, and he said to them, Should I go to Ramoth Gilead and make war, or should I be at peace? They responded, Ascend, and the Lord will give it into the hand of the king. Then Jehoshaphat said, Is there not here a particular prophet of the Lord, so that we may inquire by him? And the king of Glasgow said to Jehoshaphat, One man remains, by whom we may be able to inquire of the Lord, Micaiah, the son of Imlah, but I hate him. For he does not prophesy good to me, but evil. Fuck that one guy in particular.
Yeah. He's just the one.
And Jehoshaphat said, "You should not speak in this way, O king." Therefore the king of Glasgow called a certain eunuch, and he said to him, "Hurry to bring here Micaiah, the son of Imlah." Now the king of Glasgow and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, were each sitting upon his own throne, clothed in the habit of royal vestments, in a courtyard beside the entrance of the gate of Samaria. And all the prophets were prophesying in their sight. Also Zedekiah, the son of Chinana, made for himself horns of iron. And he said, "Thus says the Lord, with these you shall threaten Syria until you destroy it." And all the prophets were prophesying similarly, saying, "Ascend to Ramoth Gilead and go forth to success, for the Lord will deliver it into the hands of the king." Then truly the messenger who had gone to summon Micaiah spoke to him, saying, "Behold, the words of the prophet, as if with one mouth, are predicting good to the king. Therefore let your word be like theirs, and speak what is good." But Micaiah said to him, "As the Lord lives, whatever the Lord will have said to me, this I shall speak." And so he went to the king, and the king said to him, "Micaiah, should we go to Ramoth Gilead to do battle, or should we cease?" And he responded to him, "Ascend and go forth to success, and the Lord will deliver it into the hands of the king." But the king said to him, "I require you, under oath, again and again, that you not say to me anything except what is true in the name of the Lord." And he said, "I saw all of Glasgow scattered among the hills, like sheep that have no shepherd. And the Lord said, These have no master. Let each of them return to his own house in peace." Therefore the king of Glasgow said to Jehoshaphat, "Did I not tell you that that he prophesies nothing good to me, but always evil? Yet truly," continuing, he said, "because of his, listen to the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting upon his throne, and the entire army of heaven was standing beside him, to the right and to the left. And the Lord said, Who will mislead Ahab, the king of Glasgow, so that he may ascend and fall at Ramoth Gilead?" And one spoke words in this manner, and another spoke otherwise. But then a spirit went out and stood before the Lord and said, "I will mislead him." And the Lord said to him, "By what means?" And he said, "I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets." And the Lord said, "You will deceive him, and you will prevail. Go forth and do so." So now, behold, the Lord has given a lying spirit into the mouth of all your prophets who are here, and the Lord has spoken evil against you. Then Zedekiah, the son of Chananana, drew near and struck Micaiah on the jaw. And he said, "So then, has the Spirit of the Lord left me and spoken to you?" And Micaiah said, "You shall see in the day when you will enter into a room within a room, so that you may conceal yourself." Whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean. And the king of Glasgow said, "Take Micaiah and let him dwell with Ammon, the ruler of the city, and with Joash, the son of Amalek, and tell them, Thus says the king, put this man in prison and sustain him with the bread of affliction and with the water of distress until I return in peace." Ah, yes, the water of distress. I think you're familiar with that. And Micaiah said, "If you will have returned in peace, the Lord has not spoken through me." And he said, "May all the people hear it." And so the king of Glasgow and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, ascended to Ramoth Gilead. Then the king of Glasgow said to Jehoshaphat, "Take up your armor and enter the battle, and be clothed in your own garments." But the king of Glasgow changed his clothing, and he entered the war. Now the king of Syria had instructed the 32 commanders and chariots, saying, "You shall not fight against anyone, small or great, except against the king of Glasgow alone." Therefore, when the commanders of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, they suspected that he was the king of Glasgow, and making a violent assault, they fought against him. And Jehoshaphat cried out. And the commanders of the chariots understood that he was not the king of Glasgow, and so they turned away from him. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, totally. But a certain man bent his bow, aiming the arrow without certitude, and by chance he struck the king of Glasgow between the lungs and the stomach. Then he said to the driver of his chariot, "Turn your hand and carry me away from the army, for I have been grievously wounded." Then the battle was undertaken throughout that day. And the king of Glasgow was standing on his chariot opposite the Syrians, and he died in the evening. For the blood was flowing from the wound into the joints of the chariot. And a herald proclaimed throughout the entire army before the setting of the sun, saying, "Let each one return to his own city, into his own land." And the king died, and he was carried into Samaria, and they buried the king in Samaria. And they washed his chariot in the pool of Samaria. And the dogs licked up his blood, and they washed their reins in accord with the word of the Lord which he had spoken. But the rest of the words of Ahab, and all that he did, and the house of ivory that he built, and all the cities that he constructed, were these not written in the book of the words of the days of the kings of Glasgow? You're so welcome for that one. And so Ahab slept with his daddies, and Ahaziah, his son, reigned in his place. Yet truly, Jehoshaphat, the son of Asa, had begun to reign over Judah in the 4th year of Ahab, the king of Glasgow. He was 35 years old when he had begun to reign, and he reigned for 25 years in Jerusalem. The name of his mother was Azubah, the daughter of Shilhi. And he walked in the entire way of Asa, his daddy, and he did not decline from it. And he did what was right in the sight of the Lord. Yet truly he did not take away the high places, for still the people were sacrificing and burning incense in the high places. And Jehoshaphat had peace with the king of Glasgow. But the rest of the words of Jehoshaphat and his works that he did, and the battles, were these not written in the book of the words of the days of the kings of Judah?
Well,
by the way, something that I noticed there's 2 different books. There's the word of the book of the fuck you of Judah and of Glasgow, but we're just gonna have to drink for both of them.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Actually, let me fix that. Glasgow/Judah. There we go.
Or just in square brackets, book name.
Fine.
Wouldn't that just be more
kings
efficient?
Kings of a tribe, rather, I guess. Tribe, sure. Whatever. And then, too, the remnant of the effeminate who had remained in the days of Asa, his daddy, he took away from the land. What? Why are you... fanboy? At that time, there was no king appointed in IWEA. It's in the Bible. Yet truly, King Jehoshaphat had made a navy on the sea, which would sail to Ophir for gold. But they were unable to go, because the ships were broken down at Ezion-Geber. And then Ahaziah, the son of Ahab, said to Jehoshaphat, "Let my servants go with your servants on the ships." But Jehoshaphat was not willing. And Jehoshaphat slept with his daddies, and he was buried with them in the city of David, his daddy. And Jehoram, his son, reigned in his place. Then Ahaziah, the son of Ahab, began to reign over Glasgow and Samaria in the 17th year of Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah. And he reigned over Glasgow for 2 years. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord. And he walked in the way of his daddy and his mother, and in the way of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who caused Glasgow to sin. Also, he served Baal, and he adored him. And he provoked the Lord, the skies of Glasgow, in accord with all that his daddy had done. What about the book of the word of the days of our lives? Ha! You have a life, fucking nerd.
Bitch.
Games. It's in the games.
Same, honestly.
I believe it's Ubu, but close enough. Terrace.
Yes.
Are you here?
Yes.
You know what isn't here?
What?
The first book of Kings.
Well. Oh.
What are we? And enjoyability. It started being pretty funny when they always mentioned the book of the word of the days of the kings of something. That was pretty funny. What else did we have? Like, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't amazing. No. I think like 7, maybe 8. I'm trying to think.
I think so. I think 8's too high. So 7's definitely 6 or 7.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like 7, maybe even 8, but I'm gonna give it a 7. Yeah, characters. Honestly, we had so many. It's just like this guy died, and then his son became king, and then this guy on the other side died. Honestly, I could never follow along. Like, somebody died, and their son took the place. I'm always confused. Like, wait, so on which side were they? Were they the good guys now? Were they Glasgow or Judah?
Well, I mean, that's more of a writing issue or plot issue. I mean, characters themselves. You know.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but also I just feel like there was too much character below. Like, there were too many unnecessary characters. So
yeah,
I'm trying to think what memorable characters did we have?
I don't know. I heard the word David a lot,
but he's already long dead. He died at the end. Well, not long dead, maybe, but he died in Samuel too, I believe. He's just the daddy of somebody that was king for a long time.
No.
So I'm just
yeah. I don't think this one's gonna get a high one.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a 4, maybe. I don't think there was anything terrible.
Well, I'm gonna give it a 3 or a spite.
Yeah, I was thinking a low 4. 3 is also totally understandable, honestly. Writing.
It was not very good.
As per usual.
I think it was worse than usual.
I'm trying to think now. Who was there? There was a lot of repetition once again, where it's like this person who is the son of this, and then just. I'm not gonna go as low as a 3. I'm thinking like a low 5, maybe high 4, somewhere along those lines.
I'm not buying it.
I'm gonna look at the previous ones. Where would a 5 put it? Above Numbers and Deuteronomy. You know what? Yeah, Numbers and Deuteronomy were painful. Yeah, it's a low, very low 5. You know, no, yeah, very low 5, maybe high 4, just somewhere around there. Plot. Just there's war and then there's war.
I mean, I guess there was some progress made with all the people dying and being born happening and all the people taking over. And
we had the revival thingy. That was an interesting plot point. And then we also had like the women trying to deceive the like actual attempts at deception. Like, most of them failed, but overall that is a lot more interesting than just then they went out to war and then this side won and then they killed everyone and now they rule over the land. So
yeah.
7, maybe even 8. Like,
I'm gonna go 8 on this one actually, because it was actually quite good.
I just felt like the plot was a little too one-sided. It was like 90% war, so it's like a high 7.
I mean, I bear in mind it's Kings 1. There's also still Kings 2 to go. So you know,
of course. Comedy. Exactly.
It was pretty funny, to be fair.
Was it that funny?
Not for any specific reason. It was just.
Well, actually, I mean, we had quite a few good phrases. So yeah, you're right. I'm thinking once again like 7-ish. I don't know if I want to give it an 8.
Yeah, 7 sounds reasonable.
Was it that funny? I think it's like a high 7, maybe. Kinky.
Was there anything?
I'm asking you because I don't remember.
I don't either, to be fair. I'm blanking out for this one. I don't really remember. I don't think so.
Well, there was the cursing them to be effeminate and have a floor of seat and all that, but.
Oh yeah. So I guess it's not, at least not a 0 then.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so it's not a 0. Amazing.
There's something to do with femboys.
Yeah, true. Just effeminate. So.
Yeah, I'll go 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Same. Honestly. Wow. It's very sad.
Yeah, same.
And the Bible has really fallen off, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's fucking gone down to shit. I miss Judges and Ruth.
Those were the better days. But you know what I don't miss? Starting a new book.
Oh, no, okay.
Starting a new book.
Oh yeah. Hold on. Yes. I'm gonna forget that one again.
God damn it. The second book of Kings.
Gay. What?
Gay. Why are you gay? 2 Kings 1. Then, after the death, with one F, of Ahab, Moab transgressed against Glasgow, and Ahaziah fell down through the lattices of his upper room, which he had in Samaria. And he was injured. Excuse me, what? He fell down through the lattices of his upper room, and he was injured. Thanks, Bible. Oh, that is actually, that might even make it into the best of. That is pretty funny. And he sent messengers, saying to them, "Go, consult Beelzebub, the skies of Ekron, as to whether I may be able to survive this infirmity of mine." Fun fact, first mention of Beelzebub, I believe.
Wow.
And an angel of the Lord spoke to Elijah, the Tishbite, saying, "Rise up and ascend to meet the messengers of the king of Samaria, and you shall say to them, Is there not a Skytis in Glasgow, so that you would go to consult Beelzebub, the Skytis of Ekron? For this reason, thus says the Lord, from the bed which you have ascended, you shall not descend. Instead, dying you shall die."
Nice. Yeah,
that's a classic Bible move. Dying while dying, my favorite.
I'm gonna kill you if you die anyway.
Do not die. Death penalty. And Elijah went away, and the messengers returned to Ahaziah, and he said to them, "Why have you returned?" But they responded to him, "A man met us, and he said to us, Go and return to the king who sent you, and you shall say to him, Thus says the Lord, Is it because there was no Skytis in Glasgow that you are sending to consult Beelzebub, the Skytis of Ekron? Therefore, from the bed which you have ascended, you shall not descend. Instead, dying you shall die." And he said to them, "What was the appearance of the dress of that man who met you and who spoke these words?" And so they said, "A hairy man, with a belt of leather wrapping his waist."
He's a hairy man.
And he said, "It is Elijah, the Tishbite." Yes, of course, identifiable by 2 traits, hairy and a leather belt around his waist. And he sent to him a leader of 50, with the 50 who were under him. And he ascended to him, sitting at the top of a hill, and he said, "Man of Skytis, the king commanded that you should descend." And responding, Elijah said to the leader of 50, "If I am a man of Skytis, let fire from heaven descend and devour you and your 50. And then fire from heaven descended and devoured him and the 50 who were with him. Thanks. And again, he sent to him another leader of 50 and the 50 with him. And he said, "Man of Skytis, thus says the king, hurry, descend." Responding, Elijah said, "If I am a man of Skytis, let fire from heaven descend and devour you and your 50. And fire from heaven descended and devoured him and his 50. Again, he sent a third leader of 50 men and the 50 who were with him. And when he had arrived, he bent his knees before Elijah and he pleaded with him and said, "Man of Skytis, do not choose to despise my life and the lives of your servants who are with me. Behold."
No, not again.
Fire from heaven descended and devoured the 2 previous leaders of the 50 and the 50s who were with them. But now, I beg you to take pity on my life. Then the angel of the Lord spoke to Elijah, saying, Descend with him, fear not. And so he arose and descended with him to the king. And he said to him, Thus says the Lord, because you sent messengers to consult Beelzebub, the skytist of Ekron, as if there were no skytists in Glasgow from whom you would be able to seek a word. Therefore, from the bed to which you have ascended, you shall not descend. Instead, dying you shall die.
For fuck's sake.
Hey, Terrace, I have an idea for a new rule.
No, you don't.
And so he died, in accord with the word of the Lord which Elijah spoke. Well, fine if you want to stay sober, coward. And Jehoram, his brother, reigned in his place in the 2nd year of Jehoram, the son of Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, for he had no son. But the rest of the words of Ahaziah that he worked, have these not been written in the book of the words of the days of the kings of Glasgow?
Fuck off.
Maybe I will. But first, let me take a selfie.
I fucking knew it. I was fucking waiting for it. Why are our fucking heads still on the wrong side, you fucking immigrant?
Because I can? Because it doesn't matter? Because fuck you?
Wow.
How about I migrate to the other side of the screen, huh? Are you happy now?
Yeah, hello.
You know what? Fuck you, I'm staying over here. I'm keeping my distance.
Fucking social distancing.
2 Kings 2. Now it happened that when the Lord willed to lift up Elijah into heaven by a whirlwind, Elijah and Elisha were going out of Gilgal. And Elijah said to Elisha, Remain here, for the Lord has sent me as far as Bethel. And Elisha said to him, So who the fuck is Elisha again? Is that his wife? I'm just gonna assume. As the Lord lives, and as your soul lives, I will not forsake you. And when they had descended to Bethel, the sons of the prophets who were at Bethel went out to Elisha, and they said to him, Oh, it's him, damn it.
Oh my fucking god.
Do you not know that today the Lord will take away your lot from you? And he responded, I know it. Be silent. Then Elijah said to Elisha, Remain here, for the Lord has sent me to Jericho. And he said, As the Lord lives, and as your soul lives, I will not forsake you. And when they had arrived at Jericho, the sons of the prophets who were at Jericho drew near to Elisha, and they said to him, Do you not know that today the Lord will take away your lot from you? And he said, I know it. Be silent. Then Elijah said to him, Remain here, for the Lord has sent me as far as the Jordan. And he said, As the Lord lives, and as your soul lives, I will not forsake you. And so the 2 of them continued together. Hey, remember the thing about repeating 3 times? He will not forsake him.
Yeah.
You're welcome. And 50 men from the sons of the prophets followed them, and they stood opposite them at a distance. But the 2 of them were standing above the Jordan. And Elijah took his cloak, and he rolled it up, and he struck the waters, which were divided into 2 parts, and they both went across on dry ground. And when they had gone across, Elijah said to Elisha, Ask what you wish that I may do for you, before I am taken from you.
So this whole sea parting trick isn't just like a one-time gambit.
No, it
just becomes a common ability.
I don't know, maybe it's just you need to reach a certain level. Maybe it's locked behind a specific class or skill tree.
No. Should have became a Christian. I would have been parting seas by now.
Wouldn't that be called a C-section?
Yes.
You know what we need, Terrace?
What would that be?
A soundboard with a laugh track.
Yeah, please do that.
I'm gonna forget, but if somebody reminds me, maybe I'll look into that. And Elisha said, I beg you, that twice your spirit may be accomplished in me. Hey, Terrace, can you translate from fucking stupid to English?
Ha 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 ha.
Oh, we have a laugh track.
Brilliant. Thank you, Cat Peasant. Very cool.
That twice your spirit may be accomplished in me.
Hello? What?
Yeah, I don't know. Translate, please, Terrace? You're smart, right?
Only sometimes. What am I translating?
You'll figure it out.
My refund.
Can't spell refund without fun.
Watch me.
I'm watching.
Please stop watching me.
I don't have a stopwatch.
Maybe you shouldn't have a laugh track.
I'm just gonna be my own laugh track. With blackjack and hooker. I mean, what? And he responded, You have requested a difficult thing. Nevertheless, you see me when I am taken from. If you see me when I am taken from you, you will have what you requested. But if you do not see, it shall not be. What?
Why?
He's basically saying, if you watch me die, you'll get your wish. If you don't, you won't. And as they continued on, they were conversing while walking. And behold, a fiery chariot with fiery horses divided the two, and Elijah ascended by a whirlwind into heaven. The whirlwind is a much more Christian ability than I thought it was. I always thought it was just this generic melee AoE ability in games, but it's actually Christian inspired. Then Elisha saw it and he cried out, My daddy! My daddy! The chariot of Glasgow with its driver! What? And he saw him no more. And he took hold of his own garments and he tore them into two parts. What is it with them and tearing their clothes? What the fuck? And he picked up the cloak of Elijah, which had fallen from him. And turning back, he stood above the bank of the Jordan. They had banks back then? Damn. And he struck the waters with the cloak of Elijah, which had fallen down from him, and they were not divided. Damn, Shia LaBeouf really came through. They were not divided. And he said, Where is the guidance of Elijah, even now? And he struck the waters, and they were divided here and there. And Elisha went across. Then the sons of the prophets, who were at Jericho, watching from a distance, said, The spirit of Elijah has rested upon Elisha. And approaching to meet him, they reverenced him prone on the ground. And they said to him, Behold, with your servants there are 50 strong men who are able to go forth and seek your Lord. For perhaps the Spirit of the Lord has taken him up and cast him upon some mountain or into some valley. But he said, Why are you not drinking? For it has been said to behold a thing. Why are you being ignorant of this fact?
What?
Exactly. I said behold, fuck you.
I was somewhere else.
Where were you?
No idea.
Damn, take me with you next time. Selfish prick.
No.
Understandable. Have a day. But he said, Do not send them. And they urged him until he acquiesced and said, Send them. And they sent 50 men. And after they had searched for 3 days, they did not find him. And they returned to him, for he was living in Jericho. And he said to them, Did I not say to you, Do not send them? Also, the men of the city said to Elisha, Behold, this city is a very good habitation, as you yourself perceive, O Lord, but the waters are very bad, and the ground is barren. And so he said, "Bring a new vessel to me, and place salt in it." Rip salt. And when they had brought it, he went out to the source of the waters, and he cast the salt into it, and he said, "Thus says the Lord, I have healed these waters, and no longer shall there be death with one F or barrenness in them." Then the waters were healed, even to this day, in accord with the word of Elisha which he spoke. Then he went up from there into Bethel. And as he was ascending along the way, little boys departed from the city, and they were mocking him, saying, "Go up, bald head! Go up, bald head!" And when he had looked back, he saw them, and he cursed them in the name of the Lord. And 2 bears went out from the forest, and they wounded 42 boys amongst them. Then he went away from there to Mount Carmel, and he returned from there to Samaria. What? How mature. Help, they're mocking me for being bald. Curse them. And then...
Bald, what the fuck?
Paris, would you like to read the next chapter?
Why?
Because as far as I remember, you've never done it, and I feel like you might be remotely decent at voice acting, so this could be very interesting.
No, I'm not very good at voice acting, actually.
More than I am.
No, I'm not. No,
Factually
no.
inaccurate, you're lying, and you know it.
No.
Okay, well, do you have a replacement voice actor?
Hey, cat peasant, you gotta spare 5 minutes. Because, boy, have I got a job for you. I'm actually surprisingly being productively busy. I'm preparing the next Bible doc sheet with all the formatting and replaces and things.
I think Cat Peasant is very busy.
Fuck off.
You know, this is a classic checkmate atheist moment. Because your Lord has forsaken you.
Oh.
2 Kings 3. Truly, Joram, the son of Ahab, reigned over Glasgow and Samaria in the 18th year of Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah. And he reigned for 12 years. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as his daddy and mother did. For he took away the statues of Baal which his daddy had made. Yet truly, he did adhere to the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who caused Glasgow to sin. Neither did he withdraw from these. Now Mesha, the king of Moab, raised many sheep. And he repaid to the king of Glasgow 100,000 lambs and 100,000 rams with their fleece. And when Ahab had died, he transgressed the pact that he had with the king of Glasgow. Therefore, King Joram departed on that day from Samaria, and he took account of all of Glasgow. And he sent to Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, saying, "The king of Moab the king of Moab was withdrawn from me. Come, Ugu, to battle with me against him." And he responded, "I will go up. What is mine is yours. My people are your people, and my horses are your horses." And he said, "Along which way shall we ascend?" So he responded, "Along the desert of Idom-Ea. It's in the Bible." Therefore, the king of Glasgow, the king of Judah, and the king of Idom-Ea, it's in the Bible, traveled, and they went by a circuitous path for 7 days. But there was no water for the army or for the beasts of burden which were following them. And the king of Glasgow said, "Alas, alas, alas." The Lord gathered...
Why was there so much alas?
Because he's trying to say alasso, but he doesn't know how to say the O, so he's just trying over and over. I don't fucking know. Oh wait, 3 alasses, you're right, fuck. Sneaky. I would have missed that.
But good thing you've got someone paying attention.
The Lord has gathered we 3 kings, so that he might deliver us into the hands of Moab. And Jehoshaphat said, "Is there not a prophet of the Lord here, so that we may appeal to the Lord through him?" And one of the servants of the king of Glasgow responded, "Elisha, the son of Shaphat, is here." who poured water upon the hands of Elijah. And Jehoshaphat said, The word of the Lord is with him. And so the king of Glasgow, with Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, and with the king of Ea, it's in the Bible, descended to him. Then Elisha said to the king of Glasgow, What is there between you and me? Go to the prophets of your daddy and your mother. And the king of Glasgow said to him, Why has the Lord gathered these 3 kings so that he might deliver them into the hands of Moab? And Elisha said to him, As the Lord of hosts lives, in whose sight I stand, if I was not humbled by the face of Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, certainly I would neither have listened to you nor have looked upon you. But now, bring a musician to me. And while the musician was playing, the hand of the Lord fell upon him, and he said, Thus says the Lord, Make in the channel of this torrent pit after pit, for thus says the Lord, You shall not see wind or rain, yet this channel shall be filled with water, and you shall drink, you and your families and your beasts of burden. And this is small in the sight of the Lord, so in addition he will also deliver Moab into your hands. And you shall strike every fortified town and every elect city, and you shall cut down every fruitful tree, and you shall obstruct all the sources of water, and you shall cover every excellent field with stones. Then it happened that in the morning, when the sacrifices were usually to be offered, behold,
not again.
Water was arriving along the way of Ea. It's in the Bible.
Wet.
And the land was filled with water.
It was filled with the wet.
And then all the Moabites, hearing that the kings had ascended so that they might fight against them, gathered all who had been girded with a belt around them, and they stood at the borders. And rising up in early morning, and when the sun was now rising before the waters, the Moabites saw the waters opposite them, which were red like blood. And they said, It is the blood of the sword. The kings have fought amongst us themselves and have slain one another. Go now, Moab, to the spoils. And they went into the camp of Glasgow. But Glasgow, rising up, struck Moab, and they fled before them. And since they had prevailed, they struck down Moab. They went and struck down Moab, and they destroyed the cities. And they filled up every excellent field, each one casting stones. And they obstructed all the sources of water. And they cut down all the fruitful trees to such an extent that only brick walls remained. And the city was encircled by the slingers of stones, and a great part of it was struck down. And when the king of Moab had seen this, specifically that the enemies had prevailed, he took with him 700 men who draw the sword, so that he might break through to the king of Ea. It's in the Bible. But they were unable. And taking his firstborn son, who would have reigned in his place, he offered him as a holocaust upon the wall.
Yeah, able.
And there was a great indignation in Glasgow, and they promptly withdrew from him, and they turned back to their own land. A toast?
Your mum's a toast.
But
Sliced
you're
bread.
supposed to speak a toast now.
All hail bread.
Amen. Or woman. Or anything in between. 2 Kings 4. Now a certain woman from the wives of the prophets cried out to Elisha, saying, My husband, your servant, is dead. And you know that your servant was the one who fears the Lord. And a creditor has arrived so that he may take away my 2 sons and to serve him. And Elisha said to her, What do you want me to do for you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? And she responded, I, your handmaid, do not have anything in my house except a little oil with which I may be anointed. And he said to her, Go, ask to borrow from all your neighbors empty vessels, more than a few, and enter and close your door. And when you are inside with your sons, pour the oil into all those vessels. And when they are full, take them away. And so the woman went and closed the door upon herself and her sons, and they were They were bringing her the vessels, and she was pouring into them. And when the vessels had been filled, she said to her son, "Bring me another vessel." And he responded, "I have none." And there was oil remaining. Then she went and told the man of Skytis, and he said, "Go, sell the oil, and repay your creditor. Then you and your sons may live on what remains." Now it happened that on a certain day, Elisha passed by Shunem, and there was a great woman there, who took him to eat bread. I fucking love bread. Me when I'm terrorist. And since he frequently passed by there, he turned aside to her house so that he might eat bread. Starting to think like eating bread is just a metaphor for something else. And she said to her husband, "I have noticed that he is a holy man of Skytis who passes by us frequently. Therefore, let us prepare a small upper room for him, and place a bed in it for him, and a table, and a chair, and a lampstand, so that when he comes to us, he may stay there." Then it happened that, on a certain day, arriving, he turned aside into the upper room, and he rested there. And when he said to his servant Gehazi, call this Shunammite woman. When he called her, she stood before him. And when he called her and she stood before him, he said to his servants, "Say to her, Behold, you have ministered to us attentively in all things. What do you want that I might do for you? Do you have any business, or do you want me to speak to the king or to the leader of the military?" And she responded, "I live in the midst of my own people." And he said, "Then what does she want that I might do for her?" And Gehazi said, "You need not ask, for she has no son, and her husband is elderly." And so he instructed him to call her. And when she had been called, and she was standing before the door, he said to her, "At this time, and at this hour, with life as a companion, you will have a son in your womb." But she responded, "Do not, I ask you, my lord, a man of Skytis, do not be willing to lie to your handmaid." And the woman conceived, and she bore a son in the time at the same hour as Elisha had said.
Wow.
Harris, what just happened?
What happened where?
Exactly.
Someone said no and they said yes and they had like child.
No, even better. They just, the woman doesn't have a son.
Right.
So the woman that is being very hospitable to this man of Skytis, the woman doesn't have a son, and her husband is elderly, which probably just means that he cannot make children with her. So this man of Skytis just says to her at a specific time, at a specific hour, "You'll just have a son in your womb." And then she's like, "Yo, don't fucking lie to me, bitch." And then it just happened that she bore a son.
Wow.
So he was just like fetus creatus, and then she had a fetus.
Quite impressive, actually.
What a fucking magic trick. Okay, I see Terrace is not interested in my elaboration of the events that have just happened.
I mean, I get the general idea.
And the boy grew. And on a certain day, when he had gone out to his daddy, to the harvesters, he said to his daddy, "I have pain in my head. I have a pain in my head. I have a pain in my head." But he said to his servant, "Take him and lead him to his mother." But when he had taken him, and he had led him to his mother, she placed him upon her knee until midday, and then he died.
That's...
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, that's within 10.
Son of a bitch.
Did you just call this very hospitable woman a bitch? Excuse me? Okay, understandable. Then she went up and laid him out on the bed of the man of Skytis, and she closed the door. And departing, she called her husband, and she said, Send me with you. I beg you. Wait, fun. Sit with me, I beg you, one of your servants, and a donkey, so that I may hurry to the man of Skytis and then return. And he said to her, what is the reason that you would go to him? Today is not the new moon, and it is not the Sabbath bath. She responded, I will go. And she saddled the donkey, and she instructed her servant, drive and hurry on. You shall cause no delay for me in departing, and do whatever I instruct you to do. And so she set out, and she came to the man of Skytis on Mount Carmel. And when the man of Skytis had seen her at a distance, he said to his servant Gehazi, behold games. It is the Shunammite. It is the Shunammite woman. So then, go to meet her, and say to her, does all go well concerning you and your husband and your son?
Death with one F.
And she answered, it is well. And when she had arrived at the man of Skytis on the mount, she took hold of his feet. Why?
Yoink!
Look!
Fascist.
Oh, look, feet! I might need those later on. Just Skyrim style trying to steal.
I shouldn't take them, she just held them. She just likes holding feet.
Yeah, she's just like, yoink, mine. Wait, let go of them. And Gehazi drew near, so that he might remove her. But the man of Skytis said, permit her, for her soul is in bitterness, and the Lord has concealed it from me, and has not revealed it to me. And she said to him, Did I ask a son from my Lord? Did I not say to you, you should not deceive me? I wish you the best of luck with that. Please do not miss. Do not miss. Take your time to aim.
Wow, thanks. Thanks for the advice, Grandpa.
And so he said to Gehazi, gird your waist and take my staff in your hand and go. If any man will meet you, you shall not greet him. And if anyone greets you, you shall not respond to him. And place my staff upon the face of the boy. How fucking rude. But the mother of the boy said, as the Lord lives, and as your soul lives, I will not release you. Oh, so it's like a fucking child clinging onto the legs of their parents when they want to go to work or something, you know? But she's probably a relatively mature woman, so it's just fucking weird. Therefore, he rose up and he followed her. But Gehazi had gone before them, and he had placed the staff upon the face of the boy. And there was no voice nor any response. And so he returned to meet him, and he reported to him, saying, the boy did not rise up. There, holy fuck, can the camera just decide on what to... It is irritating when it's moving. Therefore, Elisha entered the house, and... Behold! The boy was lying dead upon his bed.
Oh no. I'm beholding. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Oh!
And entering, he closed the door upon himself and the boy. And he prayed to the Lord. And he climbed up and lay across the boy.
Hello? What?
And he put his mouth over his mouth. And his eyes over his eyes. And his hands over his hands.
What the fuck is going on?
And he leaned himself over him. And the body of the boy grew warm. And returning. And returning, he walked around the house. First here, then there. He went up and lay across him. And the boy gasps. And the boy gasped 7 times. 7. Specifically, 7 times, exactly.
Extremely specifically, yeah.
And he opened his eyes. I just, you know, that's just... That's an oddly sexual revival ritual. That's just all I... But this is revival number 3 in the Bible now.
Wonderful, my favorite.
So apparently reviving is not even that difficult. And he called Gehazi and said to him, call this Shunammite woman. And having been called, she entered to him. And he said, take up your son. She went and fell at his feet. And she reverenced upon the ground, and she took up her son and departed. And Elisha returned to Gilgal. Now there was a famine in the land, and the sons of the prophets were living in his sight. And he said to one of his servants, set out a large cooking pot and boil a soup for the sons of the prophets. And one went out
like
into
a fucking lobster.
no, just one soup.
Just the one soup.
And one went out into the field so that he might collect wild herbs, and he found some. Darius, what did you do?
What did I do?
Please read what I highlighted for you. Just how? How?
I don't think that was me.
You know what? I shall verify this.
Yeah, please do, because I have no recollection of anything.
Guide, no. Bible, yes. Hold on. What can we look for?
Just that.
The previous sentence should probably work. Hold on. And he went out into the field so that he might collect wild herbs, and he found something, space, like a wild vine.
Why is there no space here?
I don't know. Why is there an extra T? Probably because you did something to anything repeatedly, and then it was anything, and then it was. And he found something like a wild vine, and he gathered from it bitter fruits of the field, and he filled his cloak.
I swear to God, I'm innocent.
I'm here. What is it? You swear?
Yeah, fuck you in particular.
Behold! I have the power over your alcohol intake.
I was drinking anyway, but hey.
And returning, he cut these up for the pot of soup, but he did not know what it was. Ah, yes, let me just go and collect random herbs and just, yeah.
Yeah, seems legit.
Then they poured it out for their companions to eat, and when they had tasted the mixture, they cried out, saying, death with one F is in the cooking pot, O man of Skytis!
Are you okay?
I'm really not. They were unable to eat. But he said, bring some flour. And when they had brought it, he cast it into the cooking pot, and he said, pour it out for the group so that they may eat. And there was no longer any bitterness in the cooking pot. Okay, I'm really not good at cooking or baking or any food creation process. So please, somebody enlighten me. So he's just making a soup with random herbs. Okay, fair enough.
Like it, yeah. Okay, sure, yep.
And then they taste it and they're like, wow, this is literally death. What the hell? And they can't eat it. And then he just puts some flour in it and then it stops being bitter? Since when does flour counter bitterness?
It doesn't? Question mark?
It does. It did back then.
Wow, so that's some fucking fancy flour they have.
Bible man uses herbs and spices to not make food taste like shit. More at 11. Yeah, exactly. Now a certain man arrived from Baal Shalisha, carrying, for the man of Skytis, bread from the first fruits, 20 loaves of barley, and new grain in his satchel. But he said, give it to the people so that they may eat it. And his servants responded to him, what amount is this, that I should set it before 100 men? But he said again, and give it to the people so that they may eat it, for thus says the Lord, they shall eat, and there shall be still more. And so he set it before them, and they ate, and there was still more, in accord with the word of the Lord. So basically somebody arrives, and he just has some food, and he's like, here, give this to your people. And they're like, how much is this? And he's like, just give it to them, for fuck's sake. And then it's going to be enough, fuck you. And then they actually just hand it out to all the people, and hey, it is enough. Just Bible TM.
Sounds about right.
2 Kings 5. Nah, man. The leader of the military of the king of Syria was a great and honorable man with his Lord. For through him the Lord gave salvation to Syria. He was a strong and rich man, but a leper. Now robbers had gone out from Syria. Wonder if they were Euro-Asian robbers. And they had led away captive. They had led away captive from the land of... Oh, and they had led away captive from the land of Glasgow a little girl. Holy fuck, the sentence structure is giving me a fucking heart attack and a stroke at the same time. And she was in the service of the wife of... Nah, man. And she said to her lady, I wish that my lord had been with the prophet who is in Samaria. Certainly he would have cured him of the leprosy that he has. And so, nah, man, entered to his lord. And he reported to him, saying, The girl from the land of Glasgow spoke in such a manner. And the king of Syria said to him, Go, and I will send a letter to the king of Glasgow. And when he had set out, he had taken with him 10 talents of silver and 6,000 gold coins and 10 changes of fine cloth hing.
I don't know. I don't understand anymore.
I exactly understand. It's just you suck at life.
You're welcome.
10 changes of cloth, a fine cloth hing.
You're welcome.
Earth refuses to use his brain, per usual. And he brought the letter to the king of Glasgow in these words. When you will receive this letter, know that I have sent to you my servant, nah, man, so that you may heal him of his leprosy. And when the king of Glasgow had read the letter, he tore his garments, and he said, Am I Skytus, so that I could take or give life, or so that this man would send to me to cure a man from his leprosy? Take notice, and see that he is seeking occasions against me. And when Elisha, the man of Skytus, had heard this, specifically, that the king of Glasgow had torn his garments, he sent to him, saying, Why have you torn your garments? Let him come to me, and let him know that there is a prophet in Glasgow. Therefore, Naaman arrived with his horses and chariots, and he stood at the door of the house of Elisha. And Elisha sent a messenger to him, saying, God damn it. Woo! Saying, Go and wash 7 times in the Jordan, and your flesh will receive health, and you will be clean. And becoming angry, Naaman went away, saying, I thought that he would have come out to me, and standing would have invoked in the name of the Lord, his Skytus, and that he would have touched the place of the leprosy with his hand, so have healed me. Are not the Abana and Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Glasgow, so that I might wash in them and be cleansed? But then, after he had turned himself away and was leaving with indignation, his servants approached him, and they said to him, If the prophet had told you, Daddy, to do something great, certainly you ought to have done it. How much more so now that he has said to you, Wash, and you will be clean. So he descended and washed in the Jordan 7 times, in accord with the word of the man of Skytus, and his flesh was restored, like the flesh of a little child. Okay. And he was made clean. And returning to the man of Skytus with his entire retinue, he arrived, and he stood before him and said, Truly I know there is no other Skytus in all the earth except in Glasgow. And so I beg you to accept a blessing from your servant. And he responded, As the Lord lives, before whom I stand, I will not accept it. And though he urged him strongly, he did not agree at all. And Naaman said, As you wish, but I beg you to grant to me, your servant, that I may take from here the burden of 2 mules from the ground. For your servant will no longer offer holocaust or victim to other Skytuses except to the Lord. But there is still this matter for which you will entreat the Lord on behalf of your servant. When my Lord enters the temple of Rimmon, so that he may adore there, and he leans on my hand, if I will bow down in the temple of Rimmon while he's adoring in the same place, that the Lord may ignore me, while he's adoring in the same place, that the Lord may ignore me, your servant, concerning this matter. What the fuck did I just read? I literally have no fucking clue.
I think everyone involved just had a stroke.
I'm gonna have a stroke of alcohol. How about that? And he said to him, "Go in peace." Then he went away from him in the elect time of the earth. And Gehazi, the servant of the man of Sky, said, "My lord has spared Naaman, this Syrian, by not receiving from him what he brought. As the Lord lives, I will run after him and take something from him." And so Gehazi followed after the back of Naaman, and when he had seen him running toward him, he leaped down from his chariot to meet him, and he said, "Is all well?" And he said, "It is well. My Lord has sent me to you, saying, just now 2 youths from the sons of the prophets have come to me from Mount Ephraim. You give them a talent of silver and 2 changes of clothing." And Naaman said, it is better that you accept 2 talents. And he urged him, and he bound the 2 talents of silver in 2 bags with 2 changes of clothing. And he set them upon his 2 servants, who carried them before him. And when now he had arrived in the evening, he took them from their hands, and he restored them in the house. And he dismissed the men, and they went away. Then, having entered, he stood before his lord. And Elisha said, where are you coming from, Gehazi? And he responded, your servant did not go anywhere. But he said, was my heart not present when the man turned back from his chariot to meet you? And now you have received money, and you have received garments, so that you might buy olive groves and vineyards and sheep and oxen and men and women servants. So then the leprosy of Naaman shall adhere to you and to your offspring forever. And he departed from him a leper, as white as snow. Basically, this guy, Eli something, one that survived, Elisha, so Elisha heals a random man of leprosy, and then the servant of Elisha runs after the dude and actually takes payment, which Elisha refused. And then Elisha is like, wow, you took payment? Here, have some leprosy. And then his servant has leprosy. Understandable? Actually, surprisingly reasonable by Bible standards.
Yeah.
Do you know what is not reasonable?
What isn't?
2 Kings 6. Now the sons of the prophets said to Elisha, behold,
no.
the place in which we live before you is too narrow for us. Let us go as far as the Jordan, and let us each take from the forest a piece of timber, so that we may build for ourselves a place to live there. See, told you it's not very reasonable.
Well, I guess you're right. No, thanks, guys. What would we do without you?
Not have alcohol poisoning, maybe?
I do not very well my own, thank you very much.
Understandable. Have a poisoning. And he said, go. And one of them said, then you too should go with your servants. And he answered, I will go. And he went with them. And when they had arrived at the Jordan, they were cutting down wood. Then it happened that, while someone was cutting timber, the iron of the axe, without an E at the end, just AX, fell into the water.
What?
What?
What the fuck?
And he cried out and said, alas, 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 I'm having a stroke. I'm having a stroke. I'm having a stroke. Please drink, Terrace. Please drink, Terrace. Alas, my lord, but this thing was borrowed. Then the man of Skyte said, where did it fall? And he indicated to him the place. Then he cut off a piece of wood and he threw it in, and the iron floated up. Excuse me, what? So they just drop an axe in the water. An iron axe. That's borrowed. And then this guy's like, wait, where did you drop it? And then he's like, there. And then he just takes a piece of wood, throws it in, and then the iron just floats up.
Wow.
Magic.
Quite impressive, actually.
And he said, take it. And he extended his hand and he took it. Now the king of Syria was fighting against Glasgow, and he took counsel with his servants, saying, in this and that place let us set up an ambush. And so the man of Skyte is sent to the king of Glasgow, saying, take care to not pass by that. Take care to not pass by that place, for the Syrians are there in ambush. And so the king of Glasgow sent to the place which the man of Skyte had told him, and he prevented it. And he preserved himself concerning that place, not merely once or twice. And the heart of the king of Syria was disturbed over this matter, and calling together his servants, he said, why have you not revealed to me the one who is betraying me to the king of Glasgow? And one of his servants said, by no means, my lord the king. Rather, it is the prophet Elisha who is in Glasgow, who is revealing to the king of Glasgow every word whatsoever that you will speak in your conclave. And he said to them, go and see where he is, so that I may send and capture him. They reported to him, saying, behold, he is in Dothan.
Wait.
And therefore he sent horses and chariots and experienced soldiers into that place. And when they had arrived in the night, they encircled that city. Now, the servant of the man of Skytis arising at first light, went out and saw the army all around the city with horses and chariots. And he reported it to him, saying,
Wow.
Alas, alas, my lord, what shall we do?
I like how we already made it into a drinking game before it was even a thing. I don't have alcohol.
Well, something's repeated 3 times. It's just a
a convenient coincidence.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because if it wasn't a drinking game,
honestly,
it wouldn't be by now.
I think what it is, they just got tired of saying "behold" so often, so they just were like, "Okay, behold is boring. What else can we do?" And then they're like, "Okay, let's say alas 3 times because alas 2 times is not enough."
What about once?
That's just pathetic and pitiful.
Understandable. Have a nice day.
But he responded, "Do not be afraid, for there are more with us than with them." And when Elisha had prayed, he said, "O Lord, open the eyes of this one so that he may see." And the Lord opened the eyes of the servant, and he saw. And behold,
Oh no.
the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. What the fuck is the horse or a chariot of fire? Is that like that one Pokemon, with a burning? It's like a horse, but instead of fucking a mane, it has fucking fire. It gives you the name, but the names are different in German, so it doesn't help you.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's fine. It's a first-gen Pokemon.
Okay, apparently it's basically the same name in English. It's Ponyta instead of Ponita.
Nice.
Yeah, did they just have those back then?
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's where the inspiration came from.
Maybe. Is this part of the speech? No, it is not. The mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. Then truly the enemies descended to him. But Elisha prayed to the Lord, saying, "Strike, I beg you, this people with blindness." And the Lord struck them, so that they would not see, in accord with the word of Elisha. Then Elisha said to them,
the piss again.
I am genuinely impressed.
What about it?
Like, you're not in a particular... Oh my god, camera again, for fuck's sake. No, usually I'm the one that needs to go piss way too frequently. And now Terrace does. Makes me feel slightly better about my own bodily incapabilities. Then he led them into Samaria. And when they had entered into Samaria, Elisha said, O Lord, open the eyes of these ones so that they may see. And the Lord opened their eyes, and they saw themselves to be in the midst of Samaria. And the king of Glasgow, when he had seen them, said to Elisha, My daddy, should I not strike them? And he said, You should not strike them, for you did not capture them with your sword or bow so that you might strike them. Instead, set bread and water before them so that they may eat and drink and then go to their Lord. And a great preparation of food was placed before them, and they ate and drank, and he dismissed them, and they went away to their Lord, and the robbers of Syria no longer came into the lands of Glasgow. Now it happened that, after these things, Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, gathered together his entire army, and he ascended and was besieging Samaria. And a great famine occurred in Samaria, and it was blockaded for a long time until the head of a donkey was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and 1/4 part of a pint of pigeon's dung sold for... Huh? Harris, I'm very sorry to interrupt your productivity, but you need to read out a verse for me. It's not a super long one. Just...
And a great famine occurred in Samaria, and all was blockaded. That's the one. And was blockaded for a long time until the head of the donkey was sold for 8 pieces of silver.
80.
1/4 part of... Shut up. It's no longer... It just changed it to 8.
Okay.
Sold for 8 pieces of silver. 1/4 part of a pint of pigeon's juice. What? A pint of pigeons?
They're literally selling pigeon shit.
A pint of pigeons?
No, pigeon's dung.
No, I like pint of pigeons more.
They're literally selling a pint of pigeon's dung for 5 silver coins.
I think the funnier thing is that someone's actually collecting it.
Who would buy that? Why?
Well, I mean, as a fertilizer, it would be probably not bad.
Fertilizer?
But on the shut the actual fucking silence, you wench. No, you know what? I'm both disappointed and angry.
I'm both disappointed and angry.
Ooh.
Pigeon droppings are used for dyeing. What are we dyeing though? Light, maybe?
I'm dying.
Are we dyeing light?
No.
Are we dyeing heavy? Me when I play Team Fortress 2 and need skins. And as the king of Glasgow was passing by the wall, a certain woman cried out to him, saying, Save me, my lord the king! And he said, If the Lord does not save you, how am I able to save you? From the grain floor or from the wine press? And the king said to her, What is the matter with you? And she responded, This woman said to me, Give your son so that we may eat him today, and we will eat him tomorrow, and we will eat my son tomorrow. And therefore we cooked my son, and we ate him. And I said to her on the next day, Give your son so that we may eat him. But she concealed her son. I'm going to give you a moment to understand what just happened.
Not again. Why did you expect me to pay any kind of attention?
Because it's interesting what happened.
Said, give your son so that you may eat him today, and what the fuck what the cannibalism question?
Yes, literally.
She concealed her son. Nice. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're using cannibalism for thumbnails now because that's funny. Cannibalism approved. Church approved.
You're welcome.
I don't know. I can't read what that says.
That's fine.
Oh, good.
When the king had heard this, he tore his garments. Oh, not again. And he passed along the wall. I'm just tearing garments. Honestly, before you say anything, think about it. It might happen quite often because it seems like whenever somebody's angry, they do. But so I'm just proposing. Think about it. Take a minute.
Yeah, I'm adding it right now, shop.
Okay. Or let's be more specific. Somebody tears their own garments, not someone else's. Because tearing someone else's garment might be a different story. That's like, you don't deserve clothes. But it's like, I'm angry. Hulk, rawr. Just
Hulk smash.
yeah. He tore his garments and he passed along the wall. And all the people saw the haircloth that he had worn underneath, beside his flesh. What the fuck is a haircloth actually now? I'm curious.
That's a hair cloth.
Haircloth, yeah, I'm just...
It's a thing you wrap around your head.
Okay, hair. I need a picture because I have no fucking clue what this is supposed to be.
It's like a bandana, but for your head.
Isn't a bandana for your head?
What is it?
I'm looking at pictures and I still don't understand. Is haircloth just a type of fuck the word? I can't English anymore. Help! Is it just a type of fabric? Because that's what I'm seeing, apparently. I mean, okay. Whatever.
I'm pretty sure it is literally just a piece of fabric that you... I don't know. Fucking... No one cares. It's something. Don't worry about
it. Beside his flesh.
Why are you worrying about it?
Because I would like to understand so I can come up with great thumbnail ideas. So you don't have to do mediocre thumbnail ideas, which take effort on your part. You're so welcome. Help, there's an ambulance outside.
No. Open a window, start cheating.
And the king said, "May Skytus do these things to me, and may he add these other things, if the head of Elisha, the son of Shaphat, will remain on him this day." Now Elisha was sitting in his house, and the elders were sitting with him, and so he sent a man ahead. And before the messengers arrived, he said to the elders, "Do you not know that the son of a murderer is sending someone to cut off my head?" Do you understand the irony?
Do you know the way?
Therefore watch, and when the messenger arrives, close the door, and you shall not permit him to enter. For, behold, the sound of his Lord's feet is behind him. Sure. Honestly, I should just count the amount of beholds at the end. Because this is getting...
You can just control F on every document.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I still need to do that. And I'm going to do that right now. However, if you're sufficiently bored... Well, he was still speaking to... I ain't not that bored. I'm Skytus. Well, while he was still speaking to them, the messenger appeared who was sent to him, and he said, "Behold."
Okay then.
Such a great evil is from the Lord. What more should I expect from the Lord? Roll credits.
Oh, not again.
I mean, that's the end of the chapter, so.
Oh, no, not again.
Wait, did I drink for that one? I'm not sure. No, I'm gonna fuck it.
when in doubt.
Exactly. 2 Kings 7. Then Elisha said, "Listen to the word of the Lord. Thus says the Lord, tomorrow at this time 1 measure of fine wheat flour will be 1 silver coin, and 2 measures of barley will be 1 silver coin at the gate of Samaria." So he's just predicting stock prices.
Nice. Is he one of those crypto bros?
Or maybe he's just dictating the market. I don't know.
Well,
And one of the leaders, upon whose hand the king leaned, responding to the man of Skytus, said, "Even if the Lord will open the floodgates of heaven, how can what you say possibly be?" And he said, "You will see it with your own eyes, and you will not eat from it." Now there were 4 lepers beside the entrance of the gate. And they said one to another, "Should we choose to stay here until we die? If we choose to enter the city, we will die from the famine. If we remain here, we will also die. Therefore, come and let us flee over to the camp of the Syrians. If they spare us, we will live. But if they choose to kill us, we will die anyway." That seems pretty reasonable. Surprisingly. Therefore, they rose up in the evening, so that they might go to the camp of the Syrians. And when they had arrived at the beginning of and when they had arrived at the beginning, and when they had arrived at the beginning, and when they had arrived at the
Thanks, guy. Thanks, guy. That's really cool.
beginning. Shut up, Terrace. And when they had arrived at the beginning, and when they had arrived at the beginning of the camp of the Syrians, they found no one in that place. For indeed, the Lord had caused them to hear in the camp of Syria the sound of chariots and horses and a very numerous army. They said to one another, what could they possibly have said to one another, Terrace?
Behold.
Behold! The king of Glasgow has paid wages to the king of the Hittites and of the Egyptians against us, and they will overwhelm us. Therefore, they rose up and fled away in the dark, and they left behind their tents and horses and donkeys in the camp. And they fled, desiring to save so much as their own lives. And so, when these lepers had arrived at the beginning, and so when these lepers had arrived at the beginning, and so when these lepers had arrived at the beginning of the camp, they entered one tent, and they ate and drank. And they took from there silver and gold and clothing, and they went away and hid it. And they returned again to another tent, and similarly carrying away from there, they hid it. Then they said one to another, "We are not doing the right thing, for this is a day of good news. If we remain silent and refuse to report it until morning, we will be charged with a crime. Let us go and report it in the court of the king." And when they had arrived at the gate of the city, they explained to them, saying, "We went into the camp of the Syrians, and we found no one in that place except horses and donkeys tied, and the tents still standing." Therefore, the gatekeepers went and reported it in the palace of the king. And he rose up in the night, and he said to his servants, "I tell you what the Syrians have done to us. They know that we are suffering from famine, and therefore they have gone out from the camp, and they lie hidden in the fields, saying, 'When they will have gone out from the city, we will capture them alive, and then we will be able to enter the city.' But one of his servants responded, 'Let us take 5 horses that remain in the city.' For there were no more amid the entire multitude of Glasgow, since the rest had been consumed. And sending, we will be able to explore." What the fuck? There's literally 5 horses in the entirety of Glasgow.
Just that's not a lot.
Because they've eaten the rest.
Probably my favorite.
Therefore they brought 2 horses. And the king sent them into the camp of the Syrians, saying, "Go and see." And they went away after them as far as the Jordan. But, behold, the entire way was filled with clothingant vessels, which the Syrians had thrown aside when they were disturbed. And the messengers returned and told the king. And the people, going out, pillaged the camp of the Syrians, and 1 measure of fine wheat flour went for 1 silver coin, and 2 measures of barley went for 1 silver coin, in accord with the word of the Lord. Then the king stationed that leader, on whose hand he leaned, at the gate, and the crowd trampled him at the entrance of the gate, and he died in accord with what the man of Skytis had said when the king had descended to him. guess this was mentioned before, so technically it's not dying within 10 lines, so...
Rip.
Okay. And this happened in accord with the word of the man of skies, which he had spoken to the king when he said, 2 measures of barley will be 1 silver coin, and 1 measure of fine wheat flour will be 1 silver coin, at this same time tomorrow at the gate of Samaria. Then that leader had responded to the man of skies, and he said, even if the Lord will open the floodgates of heaven, how can what you say possibly happen? Like literally a recap of what happened half a page ago.
Oh no, my favorite. I'm so glad. I've already forgot, so I'm glad we've got a recap.
This book is perfect for you. You're so welcome.
Hey, Sky, I think the police is after you.
What? I didn't understand. I heard hey Sky.
The police is after you.
Actually, that's an ambulance and not a police.
Yeah. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Next time on Dragon Bible Z, how about I'm dragging these Bibles across your drinking?
Wow, you really stretched that one thin.
Then that leader had responded to the man of skies, and he had said, even if the Lord will open the floodgates of heaven, how can what you say possibly happen? And he said to him, you will see it with your own eyes, and you will not eat from it. Therefore it happened to him just as it had been predicted, for the people trampled him at the gate, and he died. The end. That's just... 2 Kings 8. Now Elisha spoke to the woman whose son he had caused to live, saying, rise up and go, you and your household, and sojourn in whatever place you can find. For the Lord has called forth a famine, and it shall overwhelm the land for 7 years. And she rose up, and she acted in accord with the word of the man of Skytis. And going with her household, she sojourned in the land of the Philistines for many days. And when the 7 years had ended, the woman returned from the land of the Philistines. And she departed so that she might petition the king on behalf of her house and on behalf of her fields. Hold on. Better. Now the king was speaking with Gehazi, the servant of the man of Skytis, saying, describe for me all the great deeds that Elisha has done. And as he was describing for the king the manner in which he had raised the dead, the woman appeared, whose son he had restored to life, crying out to the king on behalf of her house and on behalf of her fields. And Gehazi said, my lord, the king, this is the woman, and this is her son, whom Elisha raised up. And the king questioned the woman, and she explained it to him. And the king appointed a eunuch to her, saying, restore to her all that is hers, and with all the proceeds of the fields, from the day that she left the land until the present. And so Elisha arrived in Damascus, and Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, was ill. And they reported to him, saying, the man of Skytis has arrived here. And the king said to Hazael, take with you gifts and go to meet the man of Skytis, and consult the Lord through him, saying, will I be able to escape from this, my infirmity? And so Hazael went to meet him, having with him gifts and all the goods of Damascus, and the burdens of Damascus. The burdens of 40 camels. And when he had stood before him, he said, your son, Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, sent me to you, saying, will I be able to be healed from this, my infirmity? And Elisha said to him, go tell him, you will be healed. But the Lord has revealed to me that dying he shall die. Oh no, not again. He's dying while dying. Poor guy. Oops, that's the wrong line. There we go. And he stood beside him, and he was so troubled that his face became flushed. Rar.
Rar XD.
That as well. And the man of Skytis wept, and Hazael said to him, why is my lord weeping? Okay, why are you being a bitch? And he said, because I know the evil that you will do to the sons of Glasgow. Their fortified cities you will burn with fire, and their young men you will kill with the sword. And you will destroy their little ones, and tear open the pregnant women. That is not okay. And Hazael said, "But what am I, your servant, a dog, that I will do this great thing?" And Elisha said, "The Lord has revealed to me that you will be the king of Syria."
Okay.
And when he had departed from Elisha, he went to his Lord, who said to him, "What did Elisha say to you?" He responded to him, "He said to me, 'You shall receive health.'" And when the next day had arrived, he took a small covering and poured water on it. And he spread it over his face. And when... Hold on, I need to... What? And when the next day had arrived, he took a small covering and he poured water on it. And he spread it over his face. And when he died, Hazael reigned in his place. Thanks, Bible.
And then he died.
And then he died away. Die.
Till the very next day.
In the 5th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, the king of Glasgow, and of Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, Jehoram, the son of Jehoshaphat, reigned as the king of Judah. He was 32 years old when he had begun to reign, and he reigned for 8 years in Jerusalem. Can I stop yawning, please? And he walked in the ways of the kings of Glasgow, just as the house of Ahab had walked. Okay? For the daughter of Ahab was his wife, and he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. But the Lord was not willing to destroy Judah because of David, his servant, just as he had promised him, so that he might grant a light to him and to his sons for all days. In his days, it's in the Bible, drew apart, so as not to be under Judah, and they appointed a king for themselves. And so Jehoram went to Zaire, and all the chariots with him. And he rose up in the night, and he struck down the it's in the Bible, who had surrounded him, and the leader of the chariots. But the people fled to their tents, and it's in the Bible, drew apart, so as not to be under Judah, even to this day. Then Libnah, what's Libnah? Also drew apart at the same time. I'm disappointed. Now the rest of the words of Jehoram and all that he did, have these not been written in the book of the words of the days of the kings of Judah?
I'm running out of alcohol here.
This is a surprisingly packed session.
This bottle was full yesterday. It's empty now.
This guy was empty yesterday. He's full now. And Jehoram slept with his daddies, and he was buried with them in the city of David. And Ahaziah, his son, reigned in his place. In the 12th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, the king of Glasgow, Ahaziah, the son of Jehoram, the king of Judah, reigned. Ahaziah was 22 years old when he had begun to reign, and he reigned for 1 year in Jerusalem. I'm just waiting for a sentence that just starts with and Ahaziah was today years old when he had begun to reign.
Today years old. Oh no.
The name of his mother was Athaliah, the daughter of Omri, the king of Glasgow. And he walked in the ways of the house of Ahab, and he did what was evil before the Lord, just as the house of Ahab did. For he was the son-in-law of the house of Ahab. Also, he went with Joram, the son of Ahab, in order to fight against Hazael, the king of Syria, at Ramoth Gilead. And the Syrians had wounded Joram, and he turned back so that he might be cured at Jezreel. For the Syrians had wounded him at Ramoth, fighting against Hazael, the king of Syria. Then Ahaziah, the son of Jehoram, the king of Judah, descended to visit Joram, the son of Ahab, at Jezreel, because he was sick there. Holy fucking shit. I'm just wondering, And in fact, I just felt like I was wondering this earlier, actually, when I went to the stores, to be specific, Terrace. I was just thinking, the Bible is quite a thick and lengthy book, right?
Sure, it is, yeah.
It has a lot of pages. It's a very long book. It's kind of intimidating. If you were like, I'm going to read the Bible, it's like, holy fuck, that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, if you were to actually fix the writing, remove all the redundancies, and remove all the mentions whenever a name is mentioned, and when it's like, who's the son of this, who's the son of this, who's the king of this, wife of this, if you remove all of this redundancy, how long would the Bible be? Like, what kind of percentage of the Bible could you cut out just by removing redundancy?
Well, there's only one way to find out.
I was just genuinely wondering, and if I can be bothered, I'm actually gonna check, because I'm sure somebody did that, right? And I'm just wondering.
The Bible is difficult to even pretend to read. I'm not. I'm only paying about quarter attention to what's going on.
Harris, schmoop is a thing.
Yeah.
So, but what do you think? What's your prediction in terms of percentage? Like, how much of the original Bible will be left if you cut out all the repetitiveness and redundancies? I have a number in my head. You go ahead.
I'd say like close enough to half, at least.
Okay, I feel like it's only gonna be 70% of what it is now. So like 30% could be cut out due to redundancies and just, I guess, poor phrasing and whatever else. Just by improving wording and removing redundancy. But if you're currently not busy, feel free to find out. I would be very much curious if either of us was anywhere near. Anyway, that was just going on through my head earlier today. I was just wondering, how much could you remove from the Bible? 2 Kings 9. Now the prophet Elisha called one of the sons of the prophets, and he said to him, "Gird your waist, and take this little bottle of oil in your hand, and go to Ramoth-Gilead. And when you arrive in that place, you will see Jehu, the son of Jehoshaphat, the son of Nimshi. And upon entering, you shall raise him up from the midst of his brothers, and you shall lead him into an inner room. And taking the little bottle of oil, you shall pour it upon his head, and you shall say, 'Thus says the Lord, I have anointed you as king over Glasgow.' And you shall open the door and flee, and you shall not remain in that place." Okay, weird. And therefore, a young man. I said, a young man. A servant of the prophet went away to Ramoth-Gilead, and he entered that place, and behold, the leaders of the army were sitting there, and he said, "I have a word for you, O prince." And Jehu said, "For which one amongst us all? And he said, "For you, O prince." And he rose up, and he entered into the room, and he poured all the oil on his head, and he said, "Thus says the Lord, the skies of Glasgow, I have anointed you as king over Glasgow, the people of the Lord, and you shall strike down the house of Ahab, your Lord, and I will avenge the blood of my servants, the prophets, and the blood of the servants of the Lord from the hand of Jezebel. And I will destroy the entire house of Ahab, and I will cause to pass away from Ahab whatever urinates against the wall, and whatever is lame, and whatever is least in Glasgow." Terrace.
Yes.
We have a problem. And we've had this problem for a while and nobody noticed. Okay, I'm gonna highlight a word. And I just want you to take a close look at this. I just want you to think, does anything seem weird about this word?
What word? What least? What? Oh,
Somebody figured it out.
Oh yeah. What the fuck?
Exactly. What the fuck?
I don't know. I don't know. Shut up. We've already established that something went wrong. Don't worry about it.
Well, how about you fix this one at least, Onion?
No, you can.
I literally can't because it will lag out the document so that I can't continue reading.
No, I mean you can literally just type that one bit.
You need to do a find and replace though.
No, don't worry about it. I've technically already done that.
Yeah, apparently you didn't. Because clearly
Well, fuck you too.
you have put in the Leastonian amount of effort.
I found something really interesting, by the way. Like, on the topic of this whole Bible thing we're talking about, this is fucking cool, actually. So, it's called, it's short ERV, easy to read version. It's Bible easy to read version. And it's, like, just a really compressed Bible.
I mean, schmoopy like.
And I mean, like, and I mean, this is actually, like, this is, hold on, what website is? There we go. There you go.
How long is this? How long? Okay,
It's still quite long, but it's.
There you go.
This is almost impressive.
Genesis 1. Oh, you're so welcome. How do I go to the next page? I don't understand how to use this.
There's little arrows at the bottom. It's like a video player, but really shit. I don't understand it either.
There are no arrows for me. Oh, there. Okay, wait.
Yeah.
10. So there's 2,768 pages, but the pages are like infinitely smaller.
Yeah, they are.
So you'd have to take all these pages and put it in a Word document or something, and then. I have a question. Just go to, hold on. Go to the next page, just the second one, where Genesis 2 is, yeah?
Sure.
And then let's say the 5th verse.
Okay.
Why is it Lord? And not just Lord?
Yes. Why are you asking me?
Because you sent this to me, so you are at fault.
Wow.
Just for the record, this is what Terrace sent to me. We have a hopefully condensed version of the Bible, and it just says Lord everywhere instead of Lord.
Lord God.
Is there a way to just copy the entire thing out and just paste it in a document? Because then it would be easy to just.
I don't know. I think it's got a really scuffed reader for a reason. Oh, there's download.
There's a PDF download. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Table of content. What the fuck? That is a quite big font size, I will admit. So yeah, 2000. This is literally this just
Bible Lord count.
What?
Almost three quarters of a million. That's what I'm looking for. And then
I don't know what you're doing, but you know what? You do your scientific research, and I go and look at my chat and say, "Hello, Miso. Good evening." Maybe saying Lord really hurts, but that doesn't answer my question. And I will make the house of Ahab like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahijah. Also, the dogs will consume Jezebel in the field of Jezreel. Neither will there be anyone who may bury her. Oh, this was still part of the speech. Rip. And then he opened the door and he fled. Then Jehu went out to the servants of his lord, and they said to him, "Is everything well? Why has this insane man come to you?" And he said to them, "You know the man and what he said." But they responded, "That is false. Instead, you should tell us." And he said to them, "He said to me these certain things." And he said, "Thus says the Lord, I have anointed you as king over Glasgow." And so they hurried away. And each one, taking his cloak, placed it under his feet in the banner of a seat of judgment. Ah, yes, I also put my cloaks under my feet. And they sounded the trumpet, and they said, "Jehu reigns." Then Jehu, the son of Jehoshaphat, son of Nimshi, conspired against Joram. Now Joram had besieged Ram of Gilead, he and all of Glasgow, against Hazael, the king of Syria. And he had returned so that he might be cured at Jezreel because of his wounds. But the Syrians had struck him while he was fighting against Hazael, the king of Syria, and Jehu said, "If it pleases you, let no one depart, fleeing from the city. Otherwise he may go and give a report in Jezreel." And he climbed up and set out for Jezreel, because Joram was sick there, and Ahaziah, the king of Judah, had gone down to visit Joram. And so the watchman who was standing up on the tower of Jezreel saw the crowd of Jehu arriving, and he said, "I see a crowd." And Joram said, "Take a chariot and send to meet them. And those who go should say, 'Is everything well?'" Therefore he who had climbed into the chariot went away to meet him, and he said, "The king says this, 'Is everything peaceful?'" And Jehu said, "What peace is there for you? Pass by and follow me." Also the watchman gave a report, saying, "The messenger went to them, but he did not return." Then he sent a second chariot of horses, and he went to them, and he said, "The king says this, 'Is there peace?'" And Jehu said, "What peace is there for you? Pass by and follow me." Then the watchman gave a report, saying, "He went all the way to them, but he did not return. But their advance is like the advance of Jehu, the son of Nimshi, for he advances precipitously."
That's a strange way of phrasing it.
Same. And Joram said, "Yoke the chariot." And they yoked his chariot. And Joram, the king of Glasgow, and Ahaziah, the king of Judah, departed, each in his chariot. And they went out to meet Jehu. And they met him in the field of Naboth, the Jezreelite. And when Joram had seen Jehu, he said, "Is there peace, Jehu?" And he responded, "What is peace? Baby, don't hurt me. For still their fornications of your mother Jezebel and her many poisons are thriving." Then Joram turned his head, and fleeing, he said to Ahaziah, "Treachery, Ahaziah!" But Jehu bent his bow with his hand, and he struck Joram between the shoulders, and the arrow went through his heart, and immediately he fell in his chariot. And Jehu said to Bidkar, Neg, his commander, "Take and cast him into the field of Naboth, the Jezreelite. For I remember when you and I, sitting in a chariot, were following Ahab, this man's daddy, that the Lord lifted this burden upon him, saying, 'Certainly I will repay you in this field, says the Lord, for the blood of Naboth, and for the blood of his sons which I saw yesterday, says the Lord. Therefore take him now and cast him into the field in accord with the word of the Lord.'" Wait, so who died? Joram, okay. But Ahaziah, the king of Judah, seeing this, fled along the way of the garden house. And Jehu pursued him, and he said, "Strike this one also in his chariot." And they struck him on the ascent to Gur, which is beside Ibleam. But he fled into Megiddo, and he died there. And his servants placed him upon his chariot, and they took him to Jerusalem, and they buried him in the sepulchre with his daddies in the city of David. In the 11th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, Ahaziah reigned over Judah, and Jehu went to Jezreel. But Jezebel, hearing of his arrival, painted her eyes with cosmetics, and adorned her head. Nice, just applying skins. And she watched through a window as Jehu was entering through the gate. And she said, "Is it possible for there to be peace with Zimri, who killed his lord?" And Jehu lifted up his face to the window, and he said, "Who is this woman?" And two or three eunuchs bowed down before him. And he said to them, "Throw her down with force." And they threw her forcefully, and the wall was splattered with her blood, and the hoofs of the horses trampled her. What the fuck?
Same, honestly.
What? And when he had entered so that he might eat and drink, he said, "Go and see to that cursed woman and bury her. For she is the daughter of a king." But when they had gone...
Son of a cunt.
God damn it. But when they had gone so that they might bury her, they found nothing but the skull and the feet and the ends of her hands. And returning, they reported to him. And Jehu said, "It is the word of the Lord which he spoke through his, through his servant Elijah the Tishbite, saying, in the field of Jezreel, the dogs will consume the flesh of Jezebel, and the flesh of Jezebel will be like dung upon the face of the earth. In the field of Jezreel, so that those who pass may say, is this the same Jezebel?" Dabs. Short Bible be like 860,621 words, 4,585,928 characters. Actual Bible like 936,595 words, 4,801,362 characters.
It looks like the shorter Bible isn't actually that much shorter. It's just easier to read, which doesn't make it shorter.
Wait, 860621936.
No, he's gonna divide. He's gonna do percentage shit.
I added a plus 'cause fat finger. That is 91.88%. Oh, my 70% was quite optimistic then. Damn.
Well, to be fair, I guess the easy to read version is like fully rewritten to make sense.
Stop. You violated the law. Pay the court a fine or serve your sentence.